So apparently Russell Brand has sexual allegations being brought up against him. I'm interested to see what the hell's going on and why.
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received...
Oh, yes, you are, Russell.
2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email. One from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff, like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this...
Okay, well, that's obviously ridiculous. Like, first of all, okay, look. If you're up to bullshit, right? Then yeah, for sure. Then like, I mean, I don't know about necessarily canceling the man altogether, but like, let the audience decide. At the end of the day, like, isn't like the opinion of the people, isn't that like the highest court in the land? Isn't that really what truly matters is what people think, right? What the majority of viewers and audiences, not just the loud minority, right? But if Russell Brand has 6.61 million subscribers on YouTube, right? And probably millions of more fans around the world, shouldn't we just let the facts play out and then let everybody else, and then let everyone on their own kind of decide, all right, do we continue supporting his shit, or do we just stop watching him altogether because we believe whatever this other stuff is? You know what I'm saying? Of course, like, as facts come to light, opinions will change, and we'll get further into this. But I think this is one of those things where if you jump the gun too early on it, it's not going to play pretty. It's not going to play pretty. Second thing, his attacks on mainstream media are fucking phenomenal. All right. This guy chops it up. I mean, fuck, bro. If not for anything else, this man's an intellect. I'm not saying that that's an excuse for anything if he has done anything wrong. Okay. I'm not even like throwing it out there that he hasn't done anything wrong. He might have. Who the fuck knows? I don't fucking know. I wasn't there. I don't have the facts in front of me. But as far as his ability to fucking create like valuable infotainment, like this, he's pretty fucking spot on. So like the idea that these companies are getting that are, you know, they're trying to also, like, besides all this other shit that's going down, which I mean should have its day in court, but are also trying to fucking judge him for like his attacks on mainstream media. You could kind of see that it's a bit of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You can see that like they're sprinkling in like their little bit of subjectivism in there.
Litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent.
Whoa, what?
The relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent.
Okay, hold on. I don't really like that little chop there. That little chop is a little suspicious. That chop right there, dude. That chop right there.
The relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now.
Okay, okay, this is totally biased, right? This is totally subjective here. I'm not going to give an objective opinion here right now, because obviously there's nothing to be objective about. There's no facts laid out. There's no evidence has been, provided, so on and so forth. This is all, as of right now, he said, she said. Based on who this guy and how he's carried himself throughout his career, I don't see it in his character to be the type to force himself on a woman. Now, he might be very flirtatious. He might be very that, but it takes a different level of grease ball. You get what I'm saying? It takes a certain level of like piece of shit for you to force yourself onto a woman. And with that being said, it's like I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it based off of his stand-ups. I don't see it based off of like, based off of the stuff that he produces, the movies he's been in. Like he just, this doesn't look like the guy. But then again, I could be wrong. But something tells me that, like, I don't know, Russell Brand, I never would have thought him to be the type to be rapey. You get what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, I could be wrong, but as of right now, I don't think he did it. I don't think he's done this shit. Now, like I said, could be wrong. We'll find out.
As well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. Now,
okay, so it's one thing that, okay, so one thing you'll notice, like if you watch I mean, you don't have to do this because I've done it for you. Don't worry about it. But then again, you don't have to take my word for it either. If you watch CNN for about, I don't know, dude, like a month, a year, maybe 2 years. I watched CNN for like fucking 3 or 4 years. It was literally my fucking breakfast and my lunch. You understand? So like in the morning, first thing I'd put on was CNN, and I'd be listening to whatever's going on in the news as I'm getting ready for work. And then I'd go to work. CNN would be playing on my phone as I'm on my way to work. Get to work, turn that shit off. Come lunchtime, boom, pop CNN back on, listen to that. And one of the things I recognize is that there is such thing as a news cycle. And what they do is that, like, what you hear about on CNN in 1 hour, they're going to talk about in the next hour, and they're going to talk about in the next hour. In fact, the only time that CNN is fun, it's when you catch it on the hour where they add something new. Where, like, it was like, I remember, like, one of the things, I mean, when Trump was president, CNN was on fucking fire, dude. Like, every hour there is some new bullshit about Trump, some new bullshit about like his fucking tweets and whatever and this and that. Like they were firing on all cylinders, man. I'm telling you, fuck, CNN must have hired people and then fired them after, because that's how much coverage they needed of this guy, right? He gave them a run for their fucking money. I'll tell you that much. But when you watch these news cycles carefully, like he mentioned before, one of the things you see is that they start using something called buzzwords. They start using these phrases that you hear once, and then you hear twice, and then you hear 3 times, and you hear 4 times, and then you don't just hear it on one network, you don't just hear it on one channel, you hear it on multiple channels, and then all of a sudden it becomes like the theme of the week, right? So like I'll give you an example. Let's just say with the Maui fires. I mean, fuck, dude, that must have been on there for at least a week or two. But if we go on CNN right now, they're not going to be talking about the Maui fires. They're probably going to be talking about the, or maybe last week it was probably the G20 summit, or whenever that happened. And then like, they always have like a thing, and then they'll get on that topic and they'll fixate on that topic for like I said, like about 3, 4, maybe even 5 days. And then at some point, something new happens. They'll mix that in. And then before you know it, that news cycle is dead. And now it's time to bring up a new news cycle. Well, what are we going to talk about for the next week? Well, let's talk about this topic. And then they start pressuring and then start talking about this topic. I think it's obvious to someone who's paying attention and watching, and not just watching one news outlet. I'm talking about like watch CNN for an hour or two. Watch MSNBC for an hour or two. Watch Fox for an hour. Fox News for an hour or two. Watch Reuters for an hour or two. AP hour or two, and you'll slowly start to see that like a lot of their stories tend to be the same. A lot of the stories tend to be covering the same bullshit. So could this be a concerted effort against someone who poses themselves as a threat to mainstream media? Probably. I could see them drumming up, drama for the sake of having something to report on. It wouldn't be nothing new. It wouldn't be anything new. And with that being said, I mean, that's what to me makes this whole situation questionable. Because I'll put it to you like this. If mainstream media, what we call the news was actually like unbiased, what I'm saying, maybe presented both sides of every argument, this and that. If they followed these, these very noble pursuits in form and fashion as well, I believe like there'll be more trust. I could trust them more. But the fact that I've seen them like, especially, okay, you know what it was really with CNN? It was COVID. It was this whole like, Anthony Fauci and we have to trust this and we got to trust that. And like them only allowing certain people onto fucking CNN. And then once like they got an opinion they didn't like, that person ended up just going to Fox for all their fucking political commentary. And it was just like, wow, this is really fucking weird. Like there's something fishy going on here. Like I smell bullshit, right? So because of the way they've acted and the way that I've observed them being, what's the word? Fucking full of shit. It makes it really hard to believe claims, especially when they're going after someone who considers himself independent media and champions independent media and champions people doing research for themselves and then sharing it with others. Like I think that is a threat to the establishment and therefore a reason for them to take retaliatory steps against them. Now, like I said, if it's true, then oh well. But that also still wouldn't change the fact that mainstream media doesn't want independent actors to have so much power, to have so much of a fan base or an audience, right? Like, you look at Joe Rogan. Like, he even mentioned it just now. They attacked his ass all the time. And every time he says something like, yeah, I think aliens got to be real. All of a sudden he's fucking crazy, right? But then like we literally just had 2 months ago a fucking committee on UAPs, which is the new term for UFOs. And it's like, come on. Like how much longer are we going to be like, calling witch until we start questioning whether or not we should be burning them at the stake?
I don't want to get into this any further because of the serious nature of the allegations, but I feel like I'm being attacked, and plainly they are working very closely together. We are obviously going to look into this matter because it's very, very serious.
It is.
In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
Amen. Yeah, man. Woo, Russell. Hey, bro. You're in my prayers, dog. Like, I hope you didn't do none of that shit. And I hope that I hope it's bullshit. I really do hope it's bullshit. Now that being said, let's look at what Reuters has to say.
Comedian and actor Russell Brand faces allegations of rape, sexual assault and emotional abuse spanning 7 years at the peak of his fame. The claims against the former husband of U.S. singer Katy Perry emerged from a joint investigation.
Okay. Like that's his only claim to fame is that he used to date Katy Perry. Who gives a fuck? Bro, honestly, when this shit came up, I was like, because I was watching Reuters this morning. That's why this shit caught my attention. I was like, bro, I didn't even remember that this man dated Katy Perry, bro. Who the fuck cares about Katy Perry? Katy Perry is so like fucking 2010 that like, who the fuck is Katy Perry at this point? But that's like the one thing that they're using so that the world can know, oh, this is who we're talking about. Fucking, what? You didn't know Russell Brand, but you knew that there was someone dating Katy. Come on, bro. Like, what news are you watching?
Investigation by Britain's The Times and the Sunday Times newspapers, as well as the Channel 4 TV documentary show Dispatches.
What I seriously refute
Hours before the first newspaper report was published online on Saturday, the 48-year-old posted on social media a preemptive denial to unspecified, very serious criminal allegations.
These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual.
The report said the alleged incidents took place between 2006 and 2013, involving 4 women. One of the women alleged
4 women?
rape, while another accused Brand of assaulting her when she was 16 and still at school when Brand was 31. The report did not say if any of the women had made complaints to the police.
Wait, was that like in the US? Like what state was that in? Because if I'm not mistaken, the age of consent in Europe. Age of consent in Europe. While most European countries set 16, 17 as the age of consent, several others, including Malta, Vatican City, require young people to be at least 18 before legally having sex. Europe's lowest age of consent is 14? Dude, what year are we in? Oh my God, look at this map! Yo, what does this even mean? Do you see this part right here? In Italy, it says 14 and there's 16 with a fucking asterisk on it, but it says 13 if age difference is blah, blah, blah. Yo, no, how the fuck did you get me here? Yo, that is crazy, bro. Is this from this website? No, I like my ad blocker. Danke. Oh my God, that's disgusting. What country is this? Nigeria? Oh, dude. You guys gotta, what? Holy shit. In South Korea, age of consent is 20. Are they ahead? Are they ahead of us on something? Is there something we don't know? Yo. Argentina is 18. What is this? Chile is 18. 18. Look. United States. They grouped everybody into like the age group of 16. I mean, that's probably the average, but I mean, in Florida is 18. I'll tell you that much. Let's see Belgium. Oh, look at Belgium, 16. The UK, 16. See, that's the thing though. Like, where in the world was he? Because, you know, like the thing is that when Reuters brings that up like that, you know, if you're talking about like who really consumes Reuters the most, I would imagine it's Americans. And in most places in America, like consent by U.S. state. States where the blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at this map. What? Where's the key? I don't understand that key. Holy shit, dude. The majority of states in the U.S. have a consent age of 16. 31 out of 50 states, dude. 31 out of 50 states. Holy shit. And then 12 states where it's 18. Arizona, California, Delaware, Florida, Idaho, Kentucky. Let's keep moving. North Dakota, Oregon, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Wow, really? The majority of them are 16? That's fucking crazy, dude. Massachusetts, Michigan, Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota, South Carolina. You see, and then you wonder, you know, like that's why when I was looking at this map of the world and I was like, yo, 14, like that's wild, bro. 14, that's a little wild. But you know, it all goes back to like not prehistoric, but like just historic times. Like, why do you think a quinceañeras is a thing in Spanish culture? Quinceañeras, celebrating a girl turning 15. You're celebrating her being able to be traded off and married off in return for like property or cattle or fucking power or whatever the fuck they used to trade for back in the day, right? Sweet 16 for American girls, same shit. It's the same shit. It's like literally like that's why like when I look at like these celebrations of like coming of age, it's like it's not really coming of age. It's like at the age where we can trade you off for something because you're a female and the only thing you're apparently good for is the thing between your legs. So maybe that has some value to it, and I could probably trade it off for something else of equal or greater value. And to me, I mean, I just think it's fucking preposterous that we're still doing that, and it's the fucking year 2023. Like, it's funny how like we'll knock out statues of Confederate soldiers, but we won't be done with these fucking traditions that literally glorify the sexuality of a female and further I guess ritualistically impose the thought that she's ready to fuck. You know how weird that is? I don't know. It's uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. France is 15. Wow, this is very fucking eye-opening. Portugal is 14. Oh God. I just like Japan is 13. You see, I've said this. This is why those animes. This is why the fucking animes always got fucking little schoolgirls and shit in like skimpy little dresses and like over sexualized and like you see a little bit of panty here and there. It's so fucking weird. It's fucking weird. And like you wonder why like most animes take place in fucking high school. It's because like these old creepy fucks who are watching anime all the time anyways, that's who the fuck they're probably gunning after. Yikes. Dude, 11, 12, Jesus Christ. Like 11. Like I'm sorry, I'm very ignorant here, but like what's the average age you get your period at? Is like, are you even like average age females get their period? 12. Jesus. To start with, periods might not happen every month, but from the age of around 16 to 18, most people who menstruate will find their periods irregular. Periods usually begin around the age of 12. Dude, so you're talking about like, where was this again? In Nigeria? Like they haven't even had their periods yet. That's fucking wild. That's fucking wild. I think this is very telling. I think this paints a serious fucking picture. Now, all that being said, the way they talk about the 16-year-old here, I think it's unfair. I think you're kind of trying to play towards people's like lesser selves in like not being informed. Because think about it, how many people even want to Google this shit to begin with? Like fuck, dude. Like FBI is probably like I probably been on their list for a minute, but like now I'm definitely on their list. You get what I'm saying? Like a fucking another red flag just came up. Like why is he looking this up? But it's like, dude, like the way like people aren't gonna look that shit up. People don't really want to know that. Like, I mean, obviously you want to know that, but like no one wants to talk about this shit because it's kind of gross. And that being said, I feel like the way they're reporting this, like they're playing on that. They're playing on that. So you gotta be careful because they use tools like this. They use tools like this pretty often.
Brand was one of Britain's most high-profile comedians, who also acted in several Hollywood films. In recent years, he's turned his focus to online projects and has a large following for his podcasts and shows on social media. Reuters was unable to reach Brand's representatives for further response after the report was published.
All right. Okay. So that's one outlet. Let's New York Post. Let's see what they have to say. Oh God, it's one of these. You really think I feel like fucking reading? Go fuck yourself. I'm downvoting. I don't want to read. Someone needs to fucking say things. I don't understand. What kind of fucking AI fucking video is this? Fox.
Comedian and online influencer Russell Brand has been accused of rape, sexual assault, and abuse. That's according to 3 news organizations in Great Britain. 4 women who knew Brand during a 7-year period have made the accusations. Brand has posted a video denying them. He says the accusations are from a time when he was, quote, very promiscuous, but that his relationships were consensual.
Okay, you know what? That felt like they were just telling you the news. That actually felt good. It actually felt good to have they just stated it. Well, this is what's going on. This is what he said, and this is what he claims. That was great. That was a great. Thank you, Fox 26 Houston, for cutting the bullshit out. Oh, here we go. These are heavy allegations. He doesn't seem like the type for assault. That's what I was saying earlier. I really don't think. See, now this is a little crazy. He is innocent. Hope he keeps speaking out against the establishment. 100%. I hope he keeps speaking out against the establishment. Now, is he innocent? I mean, like, you know what sucks? I think sucks. That you could just lay claims like this, and then all of a sudden that person's in the hot seat. Does that make sense? I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Like if I work for a company and then I left that company, and then years later I'm talking about how that company was very abusive and this, that, and the third, the only way you're going to believe me is that if there's a swarm of other employees who also used to work for that company who come out and also allege these things, and if there's some kind of evidence, right? But there has to be some kind of evidence. I'm going to tell you this right now, ladies. And this is Goosey's opinion. I'm not a female, but I'm going to tell you right now. If a guy ever touches you in a way that you do not like, if a guy ever forces himself upon you in a way that you do not accept or consent to, okay, it is your responsibility to nip that shit in the ass, all right? Excuse the fucking wording there, but you need to literally, like you can't, this idea, like, and obviously I've never gone through this myself, so I can't relate to what you might be going through. I can't relate to how it must feel or what's going on in your head. I have no fucking clue. But the thing is that if you wait, what it said 2006 to 2013, it's literally a decade later to say something? Why? You're literally letting them get, if someone has actually done this shit, you're literally letting them get away with it. Because it just turns into, like I said, he said, she said. Now it's going to come down to witnesses. It's going to come down to like what these people are saying versus what these people are saying. And then you're going to have to like try to fight that out in court. But at the end of the day, like, where's the actual evidence? Bro, if you get sexually assaulted, you need to find a way to document and fucking report that shit. I don't give a fuck what you think it's going to do to your personal reputation, this, that, and the third. Listen, justice means justice. Like, you need to report that shit right away. You need to let someone know. I heard a fucking story. How there's this girl and she's going out with this guy and they've been dating for a really long time and they're in love and this, that, and the third. And this female's boss, her manager, literally comes up to her one day and says some shit about, hey, like, if you wanna shoot an OnlyFans thing with me, like, I'm totally down with that, this, and that. What in the fuck? Oh, bro, that motherfucker would have been in a trunk, tied the fuck up, ready to go get eaten by gators if that was my girl. 100%. Don't fuck with what's mine, dog. But what? And apparently, young lady did nothing about it. Did fuck all about it. Let me tell you something. When there are individuals in this world who believe that they have the right to treat you however they like and have the right to make such obscene fucking suggestions your way, or even take it as far as to touch you inappropriately, touch you in ways that you're not asking or consenting for, okay? Or let's just say even take it further, rape you, okay? The less you do to confront and correct that behavior, the more that behavior will continue. You understand that when you allow someone who is okay with abusing their power to continue to abuse their power, you are empowering them. This is why you nip it in the butt. This is why you say, no, this stops here. The buck stops with me. I won't allow for this shit to happen. And you have to do that. You have to. And I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm not even going to try to say I understand. One part I might be able to get is that it's difficult. It's kind of iffy. Like your job might be in the line. Which, by the way, if you report this kind of behavior and retaliation is taken against you, or you are fired, you have the best fucking grounds for a fucking lawsuit. Like you are set to fucking sue them and not have to work for a few years. You understand? Or fucking save up that money, go get another job. And like, look, I get it. Like, what? Okay, and here's the thing, right? Like, you might be scared that maybe the next place is going to see that you were involved in this kind of situation, and now they might be less likely to hire you. There's another fucking lawsuit right there. Oh, you didn't hire me because I was the victim of sexual assault? Well, that's not right. It's not. So pursue that shit. Pursue it in court. With the money that you got from the last lawsuit, you could definitely sue the fuck out of anybody for not allowing you to get a job because they're scared that you're gonna snitch on whatever they're doing. That's bullshit, bro. You can't allow that shit to happen. Anytime you allow someone to abuse their power, to continue abusing their power, you are, in fact, empowering them. Ladies, it might be tough. And like I said, I don't know jack fuck all about this, but stand up for yourselves. Stand up for yourselves. There's been a lot of shit about women, men, equality, all this shit. Well, you know what? Now it's time for you to take a fucking age-old process of setting your foot down. Setting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to allow this shit to happen to me. Don't let motherfuckers catcall you. Don't let motherfuckers talk to you as if you belong to them. Like, stand up. Stand up. Be a proud, independent woman. Be the girl boss that Disney wants you to be. But taking that shit with the fucking yeah, no, he was just joking. No, he fucking wasn't. No, the fuck he wasn't. Because if you would have let him, he would have done it. So how much of a fucking joke was that? And also, don't let dudes joke with you. Don't let niggas joke with you about sex shit. Oh yeah, but I bet you love this one. No, I'm good. No, give them the fucking bro. If there's one thing any guy does not like is a girl giving them a look like they're a creep. Give them the fucking you're a creep look. The fucking the fuck? Especially if they're like your friend. Oh yeah, but we're just friends. So he was just saying that as a joke. No, the fuck he wasn't. No, the fuck he wasn't. Because if you bent over in front of this motherfucker naked, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna try to hump you. So get that bullshit out of your head that it's just a fucking joke. Dudes are fucking weird. Dudes are fucking gross. Stop acting like all these motherfuckers are friendly with you because you're such a great, genuine person. No, they're friendly with you because you have something they want. Pussy. So stop feeding into these motherfuckers' insecurities and insensitivities. Like fucking start standing up for yourselves. And then literally, like, that's really where it starts. Don't let a fucking decade pass before all of a sudden you take a stance on this shit. No, deal with that shit when it happens. Goosey, that's insensitive to people with trauma and this, that, and the third. Listen, honestly, bro, fucking cancel me before I even get started. I don't give a fuck. When you wait that long, you literally don't present good evidence. You literally don't allow a fucking system that is built upon like having facts in order to dispense justice. You do that entire system a disservice by not allowing for there to be factual information. You got raped, go get a fucking rape kit. Go get a fucking rape kit done. They can literally pull the motherfucker's DNA off of your body. That motherfucker goes to jail. That motherfucker gets labeled a sexual predator. That motherfucker can't live within a certain distance of this, can't do this, can't do that. That motherfucker's life is completely ruined because for the rest of their lives, they're going to have a little fucking asterisk next to their name. And at the bottom, when you read what the fuck it means, boom, sexual predator. Fucking weirdo. Fucking creep. Okay? But you see, when you do shit like this and you wait 10 years later, all of a sudden, like, how are we supposed to fucking believe that? Because you know what? That's just going to drum up the culture of people just saying shit about other people without a basis to it. And I'm not trying to demean or belittle anyone's situation. If Russell did it, then that's gross and that was wrong. And he shouldn't have done it, and therefore he should suffer the consequences for that. But the fact that it's 10 years later, it's like, bro, honestly, like, I don't even think I would call this the height of his success. I think the height of Russell Brand's success was when he was doing tours and doing movies and doing music and all that shit, like fucking, I don't know, like 10 years ago, fucking 13 years ago. That was probably the height of his fucking success. What he's done now is find something that he enjoys doing and is doing it regularly and has built a large enough audience to have people actually talk about and you know, get involved with whatever the fuck he's saying. But when you wait so long and so much time has passed, now it starts to feel like it's like what he's saying. Like, it almost feels as if it's like this fucking comment right here. You know, hope he keeps speaking out against the establishment. He said that in his video, where it's like, you know, it's probably, you know, it's big media, mainstream media, you know, just putting all this bullshit together and then trying to chase after him. How the fuck do we know what's what anymore? And I think it's, you know, I think it's fucked up. I think the whole situation's fucked. Let me watch one more reporting of this. See how bad it gets. Let's see AP, Associated Press. I fucking hate these guys. Oh, God, more reading. Fuck! I didn't want to read! But I really want to see theirs. Russell Brand denies sexual assault allegations. Uh-huh. Oh, jeez. Here we go. British media reported that comedian Russell Brand has been accused of rape, sexual assault, and abuse based on allegations from 4 women. Brand denied the allegations and said all his relationships have been consensual. His sexual assault allegations came to light. Brand appeared in London for a scheduled comedy show. Oh my God, I wonder how that went.
I think anything that's an accusation, you have to have people, you know, you need to have the proper due course and have a look into the accusations.
Brand rose to fame as a stand-up comic in Britain in the early 2000s, had a reputation for outrageous behavior and risque behavior. Oh, risque behavior. Oh God, who gives a fuck about this Katy Perry thing, bro? Oh God, I don't know. That was whatever. I wonder what is causing these allegations of him to come out all of a sudden. There's absolutely no way that I believe a media allegation. The empire always strikes back when being exposed. Mr. Brand wanted so bad to be a liberal. Is this guy going? Hold on. Mr. Brand wanted so bad to be a liberal and about truth, but those two things are mutually exclusive. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, if you look up what they mean, I don't think these are terms that exist like in opposite spaces. He honorably chose truth and is now paying the price we all pay for that decision. Perhaps Mr. Brand finally understands who they are really after. And then if we go back to, was it this one? Yep, it was this one. Mr. Brand wanted so bad to be a liberal and about truth, but those two things are mutually exclusive. This guy is literally copy pasting his fucking response onto fucking videos. This is so fucking cringe. I can't stand fucking people. People are just so fucking weird sometimes. Like, what the fuck is that? Like you're literally like, are you just, oh my God, no, not Russell Brand. Oh, I know what you're doing, man. Click, post, paste, click, paste, post, you know, like what is this? Eyewitness News, ABC. Let's see what they have to say.
Comedian Russell Brand is accused of rape, sexual assault and abuse. 5 women made allegations, 4 of them anonymously, during an in-depth collaborative documentary by multiple British media organizations. The incident.
Okay. That's kind of telling. British media organizations. A documentary made by British media organizations. And here's the thing about documentaries. It's why, like, okay, I love documentaries and I love playing documentaries in the background. I always, like, you know, if I'm driving or some shit, I'll have something playing just to try to inform myself of what's happening in the world. And it wasn't too long ago, it was probably like maybe like 2 years ago. I guess not too long. Where, like, it dawned on me. I'm like, bro, because I ended up watching something. Oh God, what was it called? Oh man, it's that one quote unquote documentary that, like, I'm pretty sure it's the one that, like, brainwashes people to get into QAnon. And I remember watching it, and, like, by the end of it, I was just like, yo, dude, I feel like my brain's being fucked with. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe, like, that's, like, shit like this exists. People will present things as documentary evidence, as factual, when really all you have is a bunch of people with theories and a bunch of other people with opinions. And that's it. And so, like, understand that if you watch a documentary, like, it's not necessarily, like, some things might be true in there, but you need to take everything with a grain of salt. So don't watch a documentary feeling like you're being completely enlightened on a topic when the science isn't really all out on it yet. You get what I'm saying? Where we haven't really seen the effects of this and that, where we haven't really seen on paper where this shit actually happened and where it went down. Like, you know? So just be cautious about that. Just be careful in who you trust. Like I always say, nullius in verba. All right, I got it on me. On the word of no man. You shouldn't take someone else's word as absolute truth. You should be educated enough to be able to do the research yourself, look into sources, and be able to decide for yourself whether or not you believe something to be true or not. So just be careful when you're watching documentaries. And this is the reason why.
Abuse. 5 women made allegations, 4 of them anonymously, during an in-depth collaborative documentary by multiple British media organizations. The incidents are alleged to have happened between 2006 and 2013. Brand has denied these allegations and claims all of his relationships have been consensual. Much more on this story ahead on GMA.
Russell Brand is facing fresh allegations just days after being accused of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse. Channel 4 has launched an investigation. Oh, go fuck yourself. While the BBC is urgently looking into issues raised. Okay, hold on. You mean to tell me that Channel 4, being probably some fucking news outlet, and then the BBC literally being the British Broadcasting Network, you're telling me that these very, very much mainstream media sources are the ones investigating this? Like, what about, I don't know, like, fuck me, bro. Like, maybe actual police? Maybe actual detectives? Like, is there anything they can do to research it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we giving up the job of investigating a crime to a fucking news channel? When has that ever been their fucking job? And now I'm not saying that news stations and newscasters haven't been the one to break news and bring light to situations in the past. It's just that in the fucking age of 2023, the amount of propaganda and the amount of fucking interest that exists in these fucking networks is very much fucking powerful. Much more compared to what it probably was. Definitely much more powerful than what it was 20 years ago. Definitely much more powerful than what it was 40 years ago. Okay? Now, that being said, the claims were reported on Saturday by the Sunday Times. That's interesting. Its sister newspaper, The Times, as well as Channel 4 Dispatches program. In the coverage, one woman alleged she had been raped, while 3 others accused Brand of sexual assault. One of the women also said he had been physically and emotionally abusive. Brand has also been accused of grooming and sexually assaulting a 16-year-old. Once again, let's look at this map. Okay. So the reason why we look at this map is because they're throwing this on, which already tells me kind of what kind of website this is. You know, this to me doesn't seem as if it's like one of those websites. Like they're playing on the whole 16-year-old thing. Like it's a huge red flag. Oh, he probably did it because, you know, she was 16 at the time and this and that and the third. But ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that in the majority of countries around the world, the legal age is 16 and under. Okay, 16 and under. Okay, Russia 16, Finland 16, Sweden 15, Norway 16, Iceland 15, Canada 16. U.S. we looked this up. 31 states. Age of consent 16. China 14. Japan 13. Okay. Yeah. Germany 14. Netherlands 16. Belgium 16. UK, which is where he's from, 16. Ireland, so if you jump to the other side of that thing, that'd be 17. Spain 16. Portugal 14. Algeria 16. What it really gets worse is like in Nigeria 11, which is just fucking gut wrenching. Angola fucking 12. Brazil 14. Bolivia 14. You know what I'm saying? You got on here, you got, let's see, we got Guatemala says 18. And then Belize, no, not Belize. Nicaragua is also 18. Panama, Costa Rica, 18. Yep. Chile, 18. Argentina, 18. India, 18. I don't even, Bhutan, I guess. I don't know how to say that. Vietnam, 18. Turkey, 18. Iraq, 18. Egypt, 18. Eritrea. Whoops. Ethiopia, South Sudan, Uganda, fucking what is this? Burundi, I don't even know who that is. Tanzania, Kenya, Somalia. So like you can see there's plenty of places where it's 18, but the majority of places, like if you look at like where the majority of the world's population exists, it's fucking 16 and under. Like, so like when they throw this up on this news article, like where it's its own fucking statement, kind of tells you like where their head's at. Brand has denied all the allegations and said that all of his relationships have been consensual. Before the stories were published, Brand posted a video online denying the claims, saying they have been outlined in 2 extremely disturbing letters from a mainstream media television company and a newspaper. In the video, he didn't identify the news organizations by name, but said, amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. Look at that, he's got almost 200,000 likes. These allegations pertain. Oh, no, we already saw the video. I ain't got to read this over again. Brand also suggests that reports were part of coordinated attack designed to discredit him because of his sometimes controversial views. And we've seen plenty of Russell Brand's content on here when he talks about, you know, media this, media that, and I mean, I think he brings up some pretty good points in all those. You know, I guess the question is like, do I believe that this is an attack on the man? Do I believe that maybe he's been raising too much of a fuckus? Maybe the dust he's been kicking up starting to get in the wrong people's eyes. I think so. I think this could definitely be like a tactic to try to get him in trouble or try to get him to become unfavorable in the eyes of the public. Just based off of what I've seen. And mind you, I don't fucking know the guy. I've never met him, never even fucking shook in his hand. All I've done is seen his stand-ups. All I've done is maybe like what I watched Get Him to the Greek. That was a great fucking movie. Furry Walls is a song that gets stuck in my head regularly. And between seeing what he's done in the entertainment industry and then seeing now what he's been doing on YouTube, I don't know, bro. It doesn't to me paint the picture of a guy who takes advantage of women In fact, I think he's the type of guy. And mind you, he's talked a lot about being promiscuous and being like, you know, a slut. But being a slut doesn't make you a rapist. Like, by all counts. Like, these are two things that are mutually exclusive, right? Like, so with that being said, I don't think so. I don't think he did it. I think this might be an attack on who he is. Like I said, I could be wrong, and we'll let the facts paint the full picture. But if I had to bet on this right now, I'd bet he's innocent. I bet that all this shit's gonna end up in court, and it's all gonna be thrown out the fucking window, and most of these claims might be baseless. Let's see. I want to see the actual interview.
You have accused the actor and comedian Russell Brand of sexually assaulting you. How does it feel to have...
Okay, so this isn't actually her talking. I guess it's her saying her response, and then the other person reading the response, or like reiterating the response, so that, like, you know, just to not have to identify herself, to remain anonymous.
That very serious accusation out there.
It feels quite honestly surreal at the moment to see my story everywhere, and even elements of my story on the front pages of publications that I hadn't spoken to. And it feels like it was a long time in the coming. He's not outside the mainstream. He did a Universal Pictures movie last year. He did Minions, a children's movie. He's very much part of the mainstream media. He just happens to have a YouTube channel where he talks about conspiracy theories to an audience that laps it up. And it may sound cynical, but I do think that he was building himself an audience for years of people that would then have great distrust of any publication that came forward with allegations.
I mean, there you go. That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. As I was saying before, like, it's scary when, like, you know, people who are extremely popular do something that is actually wrong, because then now you're looking at it like, oh, well, I mean, doesn't matter what I say. This motherfucker's famous. A bunch of people like him. A bunch of people love what he says. A bunch of people love how he acts or his jokes or whatever the case is. So now, like, for me to present this, I'm going to have a bunch of people coming after me because, you know, he could never do something like that. I mean, it's a scary situation when it is someone who has done something, which is why I say once again, we need to wait till the facts fucking come up. We need to wait till this investigation. First of all, we need to wait till this gets investigated by an actual fucking police force. Like things need to be done here where it's not just some fucking news reporter, you know, some fucking intern who's like calling up people and making phone calls. You know what I'm saying? Like this needs to be handled officially. Like if it's true, then we need the right people investigating this. Because at the end of the day, it's like, much like Joe Rogan, fucking Russell Brand presents opinions that go very against the fucking mainstream narrative, go against like these agendas that we see, which is why I was pulling up the Sunday Times. Parent company. Published by Times Newspaper Limited, a subsidiary of News UK, which is owned by News Corp. Oh God, that sounds terrifying. Also publishes The Times. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's do News Corp owners. Oh, what? The Murdoch family? You mean like Rupert Murdoch? Like the Murdoch family. Hold on. Like Rupert Murdoch? Wasn't this guy known for some bullshit? Didn't this guy do some bullshit? I feel like I've seen... Why do I know this name? Rupert Murdoch. God, fucking net worth of $21.7 billion. Yeah, but doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He owns fucking News Corp. Organizations found. Yep, there you go. Fox News. That's exactly where I know this motherfucker from. This is the guy who started up fucking Fox News. You think Rupert Murdoch wants Russell Brand out there talking about how the fucking the multi-billion-dollar corporation that he's founded is full of shit? Yeah, that's what you think? Like, you think he wants that, right? You think that the owner of news publications are okay with their news publications targeting them? That's what you think, right? No, because it would be absolutely fucking insane to imagine that someone buys the news channel, buys the news for the sake of making sure their name doesn't end up in the fucking headlines. At least not for a bad thing.
These men always denied that any of these allegations brought to them, I knew he would. But what he didn't deny, he did say it was consensual, but he didn't deny that he had a relationship with a 16-year-old.
But where is this? Where did this happen? Where did this happen? Where did this happen? Like, that's why, that's the whole point of pulling up this fucking map right here. Because if it happened in the UK, well, I mean, who the fuck cares? She was 16 and the age of consent in the United Kingdom is 16. So it's like you're trying to, you know, make a mountain out of a molehill here.
There's a specific allegation that I wanted to ask you about that the BBC is now investigating, and that is that a BBC car was sent to collect you. I believe, is it on a number of occasions to go and see Russell Brand? Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Oh, shit.
He had 2 car accounts. You know, we went Ubering then. But he had an Addison Lee car account, and then he had, I don't know if he had the account of the BBC that he had for us too, but the BBC would arrange cars for him. And so he would, you know, I'd seen him previously be picked up from his house by BBC cars, so I knew the difference. And also it was a chauffeur-driven car. It was different than just calling a cab. And so he had a friend who was taking him to do his radio show. So he said to me,
yikes.
Oh, you get in the car and you go wherever you need to.
Yikes.
So he said to me, oh, you get in the car and you go wherever you need to go from there.
I mean, I don't know. If this took place in, I don't know, what, 2006, right? 2006. Let's just say it's, yeah, I mean, they're saying between 2006 and 2013 is when all this shit happened. I mean, there's got to be evidence somewhere, right? Like, you could fish this out, you know? I think the part here that like, to me, is just like, all right, well, yeah, okay, look, maybe you know, you agree the law should be changed. You think 16 is too young, it should be raised a little bit higher. Granted. But at that time, when you were legally of age to say yes or no, like, did you say yes? Because, like, based on the law of your country, you saying yes, consenting to having relations with this older man is technically legal. So the real question really becomes, like, what, did you not consent? Did you say no and he forced himself on you? Because that to me is the real story. You get what I'm saying? That would be the fucking straw that breaks the camel's back. You get what I'm saying? That's where you say, whoa, Russell, that's kind of creepy, dude. Like, you're getting involved in things you shouldn't have been getting involved in. You did shit you shouldn't have done. Shame on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, take your cancellation with pride. You know what I'm saying? You know, not with pride, but, you know, with fucking self-respect. But if everything was legal, everything was above water, and she consented, then what are we talking about? Like, is this like a regret thing?
So a BBC chauffeur-driven car picked you up at the age of 16 to take you to Russell Brand's house?
Yes.
Just to be clear, which broadcaster are you talking about when you say there was a request for girls to be taken or women to be taken off the show?
That was Channel 4.
Channel 4 have also said in a statement that they're looking into allegations raised. You do want to talk about this and are talking about this.
You know, if this is true, the thing that sucks about this whole situation, right, is that, like, if all this is true, Russell Brand would be, I guess, essentially like deplatformed. He'd be, you know, kind of like canceled, right? He'd get canceled, right? And with that goes everything that is Russell Brand and has his name attached to it, right? All that shit goes into the bin. But these same companies that not only allowed this shit to happen, if it actually happened, not only allowed it to happen, but facilitated its happening. You know what's gonna happen to them? Like, they're gonna fire like 2 people as like the fucking fall guys, and the channel itself, the media outlet itself would continue existing. I think that's fucked up. I think if this shit was true and you're going to shut down Russell Brand, then I think also these outlets need to be shut down as well. And I think this is one of those things where you should be heavily considering like large, ugly motherfucking fines. Like, I'm talking about like fucking fine them for $1 million fucking dollars, fine them for a couple fucking $1 million, fine them for fucking, you know, however many females that were involved in this bullshit. If it was true, 1 million for each, and that's untaxed. The tax that you would have to pay to get those ladies that money, the company has to also pay that tax. So like, if it was like 20 women, then I feel that like the company should get fined for $21 million. Not to say that $1 million erases all this bullshit that happened. It doesn't take it away at all. But you know what? It's definitely like a fuck you to that company, and like fuck you for allowing this to happen. So like, if this actually if it's all true, and Russell Brand is guilty of this, I'm saying if, because we don't know yet, we don't have all the facts, but if it's all true, and you're going to take his ass and throw the book at him, you should also throw the book at these other motherfuckers. Because at the end of the day, fucking Channel 4 isn't going to go anywhere. BBC isn't going to go fucking anywhere. They're still going to be around. And I don't think that's justice. Because it's not just shame on Russell if he did these things, that he did them, right? It's also shame on the companies that allowed it and facilitated it. That's fucking ridiculous to think that like all the fault is just gonna fall on him. Where were the parents in all this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, where was mom and dad when this shit was going down? That's kind of like my head's going like okay, I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I was young, I made choices that looking back, I'll be like, nah, dude, like that's stupid. Why would you do that? But like that, like to a certain degree, it's like, yo, how do I put this? Like, for sure, naivety is a thing. Naivety is completely a thing. But bro, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't come from a background like you, and he was famous at the time. He was already famous. So like, where was, I don't know. It's just like, it's so fucking messy. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro, it was technically legal, I guess. You know what I'm saying? From like what I'm hearing here, it was technically consensual. You know, where this, to me, okay, this whole, like, because this is going to be the main headline, right? The main headline is going to be the 6, and we've already seen all these different reportings, right? Where the main headline is that she was 16. That's going to be the main thing, right? That's what people are going to fucking gasp at, right? But like, you're putting that alongside sexual assault and rape. And it's like, there was no there wasn't illegal that, like, he didn't do anything illegal in this situation. Right. And like, once again, like the question is like, where were the parents? Like your daughter's getting picked up by, or getting dropped off at the house by a fucking BBC car, and she's in school. Like, you don't ask yourself for a second, like, why is like the greatest, and I'm saying greatest as in quality, but I'm saying like largest, why is the largest media organization in our country dropping our daughter off at home in a fucking company car? Like, at no point did you ask yourself, like, what the fuck is going on? At no point did you as a parent like say, hey, sweetheart, like, you know, let me, you know what I'm saying, who are you texting? Oh, Russell Brand. You mean the comedian guy, the guy who was in the movie? Yeah, him. Don't you think he's a little too old for you? Like, don't you think maybe you should be, I don't know, like with someone your own age or whatever the case is? You know, like where's the, you know, like I understand giving your child autonomy. I understand like trying to let your child live their lives and be their own person. But at a certain point, like, it is your responsibility to fucking stick your nose in their business, bro. Like, I understand that. Like, I can only imagine if me as a young teen, I wanted my own privacy. I can only imagine how a female would want her privacy at that age as well. So like, leave me alone, dad. Whatever the fucking case is, leave me alone, mom. I don't want to talk to you. You're being a bitch. Whatever the case is, right? But you gotta draw the line at a certain point. You know, you gotta draw the line at a certain point and be involved as a parent. You can't just be hands off. This isn't a goddamn Tesla. All right, it's a fucking human being, and above all, not just any human being, your own fucking flesh and blood. You know, like, and you know, I could understand this person being anonymous and all this shit, but you know, at a certain point, that like this anonymity, it's a cloak of bullshit, right? Because at the end of the day, like, if you want any real action taken because of that, then you're gonna have to subject yourself to not only being identified, but being identified is the only way that all that other information is going to be actually drawn out. It's the only way we're going to see text. It's the only way that we're going to get you to be able to fucking name people from BBC and name people from Channel 4 who were doing all these things, like I said, facilitating and allowing this shit to happen. You know, so like, you know, and what are you scared of? That people are gonna, I get it, people are gonna come after you and blame you because they love him so much. But I think that there's a fear beyond that as well, where it's just like I'm asking right now, where the fuck were the parents? What were your parents doing during that situation? Why weren't they involved? You know, and if it's not your parents, whoever the fuck was legally responsible for you, where were they? And then also, like, I think this also goes further to demonstrate that, like, for example, the whole idea of like your brain changing over time and you thinking differently, like, that is absolutely true. Like your brain matures and there's stages to it. And I remember reading about this in some psychology class I had to take before I started teaching. And it was like, yeah, when you're in this age group, this is what your brain's doing. In this age group, this is what your brain's doing, and so on and so forth. And it's part of the thing that you have to do to take the test. And I remember, you know, reading about this stuff. And like, when I was reading it, I was like, yeah, I guess I used to kind of think different. And now I'm like a bit older and I'm like, no, for sure. Like, your brain definitely keeps developing as you keep growing and it keeps changing. Right? Why aren't we educating our youth on these things? Why aren't we taking like proactive measures to make sure that when our children become young adults and enter the world and become part of the fucking world, that they're not like well equipped to handle what comes their way? As if like in school, all we teach you are arbitrary lessons and half the shit you're not going to remember once you graduate. What about the stuff that actually matters? What about the stuff that you're going to have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, i.e. fucking sexual harassment? Why aren't we educating youth on sexual harassment? What's right? What's wrong? Where you draw the line? Okay. Why aren't we educating youth on the fact that like your brain and your psychology changes as you get older? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we not educating them on things that would actually prepare them for life versus things that they literally feel as if they're never going to use as soon as they graduate? And I'm sorry, most of the shit that you learn in school, you're probably not going to use after you graduate. Think about it, bro. I'll put it to you like this. Let's just say you end up becoming a construction worker. Well, good thing you took all those chemistry classes. Like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's just so many. It's just like they try to shove this mandatory general education down your throat that they end up missing out on all the things that are actually relevant to the life of a human.
Any way for a 16-year-old to be with a 30-year-old?
Your mum obviously had those experiences, was in charge of you to an extent, but you were 16. I know that she wanted to try and stop what was going on at the time. What happened with her and how?
There we go. I asked the question. I'm getting the answer.
That play out.
My mum did try. She did all the things that mothers, she followed all those motherly impulses. She took my phone away. She grounded me. She didn't, she would try to keep me confined to the house. But I'm 16 years old. So she can't do that indefinitely. So I need to go to school. I need to go to after school activities.
Okay. So you as a legal consenting, technically adult, right? And I get it. Psychology changes between 16 and wherever the fuck you're at in life now. But you as a technically by the law consenting adult agreed to do this. And not only did someone try to stop you, but you circumvented them and you went beyond that to make sure that you did allow it to happen. I don't know. I just don't feel bad for her. I just don't feel bad. She went above. I think if you were to take this to court, they would throw the case right out the fucking window. They would throw the case right out the fucking window because this is showing like you going above and beyond to accomplish something. This isn't like a whoopsie, he met me once, he invited me to dinner, after dinner we hung out and then he started touching me and then we had sex and before I knew it, oh my God. No, this was like repeated events. This was like you literally stated multiple times that you allowed the man to like give you a ride back home or this and that. You say went to dinner with him, this and that. You even stating that you went behind your mother's back against her wishes. I don't know, man. To a certain extent, I get it, bro. You could be, you could be however young, but there's a certain level of accountability for your own actions that I don't see going on here. And I feel like this is just, like I said, and my biggest problem with this is that this is going to become the headline and everything else is just attached to it. Like the sex allegations and the rape being attached to it. This to me is just a non-issue. This is like you did something, you regret it, you gotta live, you gotta move on and live with your life. Like that, it is what it is. You did something while you were young, it was dumb, and you learned your lesson then, right? Okay, plenty of people have done stupid shit when they were younger and have grown up, bro. Like I remember, I think it was like we were at a party. Oh no, we weren't even at a party. I had a friend, acquaintance. I use the word friend too often. I had an acquaintance when I was in high school. And this motherfucker got his hands on Xanax. All right? And I'm talking about the Hulks. You know the Hulks? If you don't know what the Hulk is, then don't worry about it. Motherfucker got his hand on some Hulks. I remember we went to the fucking local park. And this motherfucker had a bottle full of fucking Xanax. And they were breaking them bitches in half. And everyone took a half. And that motherfucker took a whole. On the way out of the park, this motherfucker tries to jump over like this little wooden fence. Like just tries to jump on it. Like no hands, nothing. Just tries to jump over it. His foot gets caught and this motherfucker goes face first into the concrete and literally chips his front tooth in half. Of course, he didn't feel a fucking thing because he was zanned the fuck out. But like, bro, you got to live the rest of your life with the fact that you have a chipped tooth and you got to remember, oh, that was the reason why it happened. Because I was an idiot, because I was young and I fucking decided to take drugs and I shouldn't have been taking these drugs, especially not recreationally, especially not fucking Xanax because that's fucking habit forming. And like that's your fault. You get what I'm saying? Like that's on you. Now, mind you, like how'd you get your hands on the medication? Whose medication? How'd you get your hands on the medication? Whose medication was it? All these things play a part as well into the whole reason why this happened, but you can't take away from the fact that like this was a decision made by an individual. Now they have to face the consequences. They don't really have anyone to blame. I feel like this is that same similar situation, bro. If it's a matter with the law not being good enough, if it's a matter of like you should definitely raise that bar, then bro, then by all means you should use this as a reason to try to change that law. I don't think this should be used as a reason to try to say that Russell Brand is guilty of all these other things. I think we need other evidence from other people speaking out and actual fucking receipts of what happened before we go ahead and try to throw the book at the guy. That's all it is. I'm not taking anyone's side on this. I'm already telling you. I mean, honestly, from what I've seen, I don't think he's the type of dude to do that shit. But I don't know him. Maybe he did. But what I would like first is some hard, solid evidence.
And then it was within those times that I would sneak off and see him, and Russell groomed me and told me to save his number in my phone under a different name. And so that, you know, nothing's flagged when there's, you know, messages coming up. And he coached me on what to say to my parents. And my mum there was nothing that she could do to protect me from being in that relationship, because she had, you know, breakdowns about it. And people say, well, just call the police. And then what? I was legally allowed to be there.
And that's what you want to change?
I think we should at least start to think about changing it, because perhaps...
No. If you have a problem with it, take a fucking stance. If this shit happened and you were not cool with it, and now looking back, this shit was wrong, then don't just say we should start thinking about it or we should start talking about it. No. You should just be saying, yes, this thing needs to change because it's not right. Like, take a stance on it. Like, I don't understand how you're literally going on this massive media fucking like broadcasting station and you're taking a, like, I guess, like, approach to it. No, like, this is literally like someone's career. This is someone's entire existence about to get fucking tossed to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to change the law, then fucking talk about changing the goddamn law.
We can suggest the idea of staggered ages of consent. You know, there's a reasonable argument individuals between the ages of 16 and 18 can have relations with people within that same age bracket, so that we don't have adults exploiting a 16, 17-year-old's capacity for sexual determination. You're allowed to make mistakes as a teenager. They should be with other people your own age. And they should be, you know, they shouldn't be able to be manipulated by somebody that might have ulterior motives.
For sure. Like, manipulation is wrong. I feel that, like, you should never try to manipulate somebody. You should never try to like convince someone that their reality is not reality. You get what I'm saying? Like, you should never be trying to, you should never, like, and maybe like, you know, maybe unintentionally, I guess it might happen. I don't know. I don't have I don't have an example for that, but I don't think that, you know, I think malicious intent is like the number one thing here. And that's a big issue. And also, like, this whole staggering of ages thing, like, I'm all for it. Like, you know, it's just, when it comes down to it though, like, propose this shit, you know, move on this, use this as a story to make that shit happen, you know? But let me paint another picture. How many times do you see this happening the other way around? How many times do you see this happening the other way around? Like, I'm willing to question whether or not this is like a nature thing, you know? I'm beginning to question whether or not, because I don't know how many young men out there are sexually assaulted by women and are uncomfortable with it or are comfortable with it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been sexually assaulted. I mean, if I really, really think back, like, maybe once, and it was, you know what I'm saying? And like, it wasn't even like, it wasn't nothing that like I'm about to cry wolf about. You get what I'm saying? Like, or like nothing I'm about to like dredge up and shit, or like feel like my entire life has been like, you know, completely warped by this one scenario. And by the way, I never got touched by a dude. Don't worry about that shit. My fucking uncle beat my ass once. I never forgot that shit. There's something to talk about. But nah, you know what I'm saying? I never had anything unconsensually done to me. Well, besides the ass whooping. I didn't ask for that ass whooping, 100%. By the way, if you're watching, I didn't ask for that ass whooping. All right. But all that being said, like, I think there's elements of what she's saying that I completely agree with, right? Like, yeah, 16 is probably way too young. And the fact that we literally come over here and we see that it's legal, like, it's a little wild. It's a little wild. Oh, my fucking camera. Boom. Like, we come over here to UK and we see age of consent, United Kingdom, 16. So yeah, that is a bit wild. You know what I'm saying? And I'm well aware that the psychology of the individual changes from 16 to 30, and it's much different. But there's so many other things. Like what do you want the government to do? What do you want the government to do when you're willing to lie to your own mother? Like, what kind of I don't know, what kind of government do you want in which, you know, like what's the solution here? Because I don't know if there is a solution. Like, how are you going to tell the government, imagine how much permission and how much invasiveness, how much power the government would have to be able to get into your life and watch you and always be watching you, so that if any of this shit were to happen, all of a sudden you hear police sirens and that person goes to jail. What kind of government, what kind of like big brother government do you want in which like anyone who does any of this shit is immediately, you know, dealt with? And like I said, and like if you're willing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you're willing to lie to your own mother about it. Like, I don't know. Like, part of me totally gets it. Like, there's creepers out there that purposely chase after, you know, way too much younger females. There's people out, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, oh man, yeah, whatever, like creeps. You know what I'm saying? But like, this situation didn't sound like a creep thing. It sounded like he found you attractive, you found him attractive, you're of age. Bro, it's almost like what if you're here in Florida and like you're 18 and then like the guy's like, I don't know, 40. Let's just throw a big number out there. You're 18 and he's 40, and obviously much more fucking knowledge of the way the world works and all these things, and the same shit were to go down. Like, what are you gonna do about that guy? Especially when you, as an 18-year-old, as a legal consenting adult, made the decisions to not only go through with these things, but to also circumvent external sources who are trying to influence you the other way, who are trying to protect you from the thing you're now experiencing. You know what I'm saying? Like where was all that in the matter?
It was my first sexual experiences, and I felt used up. I felt cheap. I felt dirtied by the whole thing. And so then I went on to have another series of, you know, relationships with people that were, for want of a better word, sleazy or whatever else. Because I just thought, well, if I go for bottom of the barrel, I can never be disappointed by anyone.
It seems to me as if there are like a whole litany of other things going on here. I mean, you know what, 100%, I appreciate her like sharing her truth. I appreciate her, like, you know, I mean, yeah, she is doing it anonymously, but you know, it's still, you know, I'm pretty sure having to admit these things and having to like face it, especially in such a fucking public, you know, public arena, must be wild, you know, must be like, you know what I'm saying, like not recognizing like that little fire you started ended up burning down the whole forest, like, or caught the forest on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure it's a lot, and I definitely commend her for being brave enough to like go on here and talk about this, that, and the third. But dude, I feel like there's a lot of other shit going on here, and I feel that, like, I don't know, like, there's reasons why like certain places have like social safety nets and shit like that. Like, there's a reason why, you know, you can get free therapy in certain countries. You know, I feel like there's a reason why, you know, certain education systems end up better than others. I feel like there's a reason why you have more cases of this type of shit happening in certain places in the world versus others. You know, I still go back to the fact that Japan has an age of consent of 13, which, what year was this? Age of consent country 2023? Nah, no way. Is it still really 13? Ah, okay. I thought it got changed. Besides, other law have been passed banning upskirting or photo voyeurism. What? Specifying 8 scenarios of consentless sex crimes. Ew, that's gross. And also pushing offenses against minors as part of revamping its laws relating to sex crimes. Japan has raised the age of legal consent from 13 to 16 years. All right. Well, let's see. Well, it's still 16 over there. Yep. Still 16 over there. Japan got their shit together, because Jesus, bro, 13? That's a little wild. Whew.
Is there anything you want to add?
I just think that we should take a look at why people, and there's been a lot of discussion about this online in the past few days, or a couple of days, about people saying, well, it was completely legal, even though stuff that happened within the relationship wasn't consensual. People are saying, well, he didn't do anything illegal.
Okay, well, see, that part right there, where like there's things that were unconsensual. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to actually specify this shit, and if not on a fucking podcast, then most definitely like in a court. I feel like this shit should be dealt with. I feel like whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? You have receipts, you have email, you have text, or whatever the case is. Like, all that shit needs to be brought in front of a judge. All of it, and not just like, if Russell Brand did unconsensual shit, he needs to be dealt with 100%. But also all the other people who facilitated and allowed this shit to happen, they also need to be dealt with. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, mind you, that's if it was all unconsensual. And obviously, if you can prove it, you know, at the end of the day, everything else is just opinions. Everything else is just opinions. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call a shit show. That's exactly what this is. I would love to watch that fucking, I'm gonna try to figure out a way how I could watch that fucking Dispatches episode with Russell Brand in it. And maybe we'll leave that on the list for tomorrow, for something we can watch tomorrow. Definitely gotta check out that Dispatches thing. Man. I don't know. Does Russell Brand look like the type? I don't think Russell Brand's the type. I don't think he's the type, you know? But he could be. I don't really fucking know him. You know? I enjoy his content. I think it's cool. I think it's dope. I think it's interesting. I think he does a really good job of presenting information using sources. 100%. But at the end of the day, like, the real question is sexual assault and the rape. Did that shit really happen? And once again, ladies, and not even just ladies, like governments, get your shit together and educate your fucking youth. Because the only reason you have these problems and the only reason you have this shit coming up is because you didn't do a good enough job at teaching them. You didn't do a good enough job at telling them what their rights are. You didn't do a good enough job at showing them, all right, listen, this is normal behavior. This isn't normal behavior. Also, this whole idea of like we really need to, like, I don't know, bro. Like, people need a crash course on like consenting to things, like, because it feels almost as if like you can't, it's almost like if I have to regret something in my life, it's somebody else's fault. And that's just not the case. No, that's something you and your therapist need to fucking talk about. You did something, you wish you wouldn't have done it, but you did it. Oh, was it legal? Yeah, it was legal. Okay, well then you need to figure out why the fuck you did that shit and you don't do that shit again. Right? Now, as far as changing the fucking the numbers, by all means, have a fucking field day. Go for it. Try your best. Get as many people as you can on board. Right? But at the end of the day, like I said before, not only did you go through this process, like now towards the end, you're talking about, oh, there's unconsensual things mixed in there. Okay, look, I don't know about that. But before, like, you're of age. If you said no to something and something happened, you were totally well within your rights to report that. Why aren't you reporting it? You know? And then beyond that, you said you did report some stuff. This other lady who spoke on talked about reporting stuff a couple years later and things like that. It's like, bro, that's not the way the system works. It's like if I go to McDonald's today and they give me a shitty burger, right? And somehow I kept the receipt. And in 10 years from now, I decide to go to try to fill out that survey and I complain about that shitty burger. McDonald's does not give a fuck. In fact, that link probably doesn't even work anymore. You understand? And I feel like you need to understand that that's kind of the way the fucking world works. You need to deal with shit when it happens. And I get it. It's uncomfortable. I get it. It might put you in a compromised position. It might lead to people acting weird or whatever the fucking case is. But yo, like, stop being so scared to face these things. Bro, face your problems head on. You can't just ignore a problem hoping it goes away and then 10 years, 20 years later when it manifests into something else, be upset at the person who did it rather than being upset at yourself because you didn't take action when you should have. Where's the personal responsibility? I think this shit is fucking ridiculous. Schools need to educate their youth better. Governments need to make sure that schools are equipped to educate their youth better. That's one. And then two, whatever the fuck you're going through, whatever allows you to lie to your mother and so on and so forth. Like I feel that, like, with that being said, mental health needs to be addressed a lot more seriously. And not just in their country, but in every country. I feel like mental health is a serious thing that doesn't get taken seriously. And because of that, you end up with situations like this. You end up with women who feel as if they don't have any power to talk about, you know, the situations in which they've been victims of. You should what? No. Like, no, we need to breed a culture. This whole, there's a culture that exists about, like, oh, snitching is wrong. Snitching is wrong. Yeah. You know what? Snitching is wrong. I think snitching is wrong. I don't think whistleblowing is wrong. You want to know the difference between snitching and whistleblowing? Snitching is that when you're so deep in shit, you point a finger somewhere else so that you don't get in trouble. Versus whistleblowing is when you haven't done shit and you're pointing out somebody else's bullshit. That's a big fucking difference. Listen, man. The day I have a daughter, I'm going to tell her, hey, listen, anyone talks to you the wrong way, anyone looks at you the wrong way, anyone this, that, the third, right away, let daddy know. Right away, let the fucking adult in the room know. Right away, say something. Don't just sit there and take it. Because I'll put it to you like this. If you're willing to sit there and let shit happen to you now, you're going to sit there and let shit happen to you later. And it's not just a form of sexual advances. It will be in a form that you won't even fucking recognize it in. Okay? But understand that is a fucking, like, that is almost what I would consider like an integral flaw in character. All right? You're willing to allow things to happen to you, and you're willing to allow yourself to feel as if you have no control or power in the situation. Listen, when the situation is about you, you have all the power. You understand? Use it. Say something. This, to me, this whole thing, it's a fucking fiasco. This whole thing is fucking ridiculous. Whew. Jesus, man. Jesus. Fucking people, bro. People are wild, bro. People are wild, dog. People are wild.